Hello everyone, welcome to our recipe of the month. We've got my mom Danielle here again, who's also our fabulous team lead.
Hello.
And today we are making a family favorite recipe, which is taco soup.
Which cannot be confused with chili.
Yes.
Way better version.
We'll get into
my
that.
opinion.
This is controversial opinion here.
Yes.
But what I love about this recipe is it is very easy. Just dump it all in one pot. Very minimal dishes, very minimal effort, especially when it's cold outside and you just want something cozy to eat. This is a great recipe. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first step is to what?
We're gonna brown the ground beef and season it. So what you'd wanna do is have a taco seasoning packet, or in our case, we're gonna actually add taco seasoning and make it ourselves.
Yes, I prefer that, but it's definitely easier just to buy a taco seasoning packet. But how much ground beef is here?
So this is gonna be approximately 1.5 pounds right here, but you could get away with just 1 pound of ground beef. To, maybe even up to 2 pounds. It just depends upon your preference of how hearty and meaty you want taco soup.
Got it, yeah.
So you can go ahead and add your seasonings. What we're gonna go ahead and do is just put the ground beef in a pot, and you wanna make sure it's a pretty good sized soup pot. This is obviously seems like oversized, but
we got a big family, lots of people, so we have big pots.
Big pots. But you do wanna make sure that you have a pretty large pot, but I would say for this recipe, you're looking at 1 pound to 2 pounds of ground beef, depending on your preference of how meaty and hearty you want the soup to be.
Yeah.
So go ahead and add some, what are you gonna add?
Chili powder first.
Okay, I'm gonna
probably
sprinkle that in.
about 2 tablespoons of it. Like that. And you can always add more. That's the key with cooking. Add a little bit, taste it, then add more, because you can't really take it out. Then we've got cumin.
Nice.
Right here. Probably about a teaspoon of cumin. Like
yeah.
that.
Yep, probably about a teaspoon, yep.
Some paprika.
Perfect.
Probably about a half a teaspoon. Onion powder. Probably gonna do about a tablespoon. I like onion powder. Just like that.
And while she's seasoning that up, I'm gonna go ahead and cut up some garlic. This, if you have fresh garlic, is a great addition to taco soup. You don't have to have it if you don't have fresh garlic, but we like to have garlic in pretty much everything we eat.
Yeah, so you're doing like 4 or 5 or so?
Yeah, about 5 garlic cloves if possible. That would be great, but it's not a necessary thing.
Yeah, and then a little bit of oregano, just a smidge. Again, maybe like half a teaspoon. And then salt and pepper, like normal. Probably about a teaspoon or so of each. And again, we'll taste it and then adjust and see what it needs more of later.
And then I'm gonna go ahead and, I have bell peppers on hand. So pretty much this kind of soup, because of it being like a taco soup, which is kind of a simplified version of chili. I'm not fond of chili personally.
Oh, really? I love chili.
I'm not as much of a chili fan. I don't love that much chili pepper, I guess, in one dish. So my preference is taco soup, and my kids, maybe not necessarily you, but the other kids have loved this recipe because I think that for them, they don't like chili as well. So this is a great alternative. If you're not necessarily a fan of chili, this might be actually the right recipe for you.
Yeah.
So I like to throw pretty much anything that maybe I have on hand, whether it's celery, bell peppers, garlic. That's not necessarily part of the recipe, but it does add a little bit of extra little kick to the soup itself. And I think all those good ingredients and fresh vegetables are phenomenal for you.
Yep.
Obviously, with the start of the new year, do you have any New Year's resolutions, Megan?
I actually don't. I feel like this is the first year I don't actually have one.
Really?
I just hadn't thought about it. We're just too busy, I guess.
That's awesome.
What about you? Got New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, resolution is definitely to get healthier, eat well.
Okay.
This is definitely a protein punch type dish, which is really good. So increasing protein.
Yep,
one of our
that's
nutritionists always talks about that. Most Americans actually don't have enough protein in their diet like they should. So
that's true.
This recipe is really good because you have some ground beef. And this is actually really lean ground beef.
Yep, and all the beans too.
Beans have a lot of protein, exactly. And then what we have too is we take some broth, our own homemade bone broth that we make. And so we actually either boil down beef bones, venison bones, or in this case, chicken rotisserie chicken. And we put the bones in a pot and add celery, onions, garlic, salt and pepper, and just let it boil. And sometimes we even do it for multiple days to really get that good bone broth.
Yep.
So all that has some really good protein in it as well. So all those things make a big difference, I think. So for me, eat more protein. That's what I'm gonna do this year.
Well, you even think, at least when I was in school, I don't know if it was the case when you were in school, did you guys have a food pyramid? Did you ever talk about like, nutrition?
For sure.
In school?
Yes.
Yeah. If you look at the food pyramid I grew up with, at the very bottom it said like, the most amount of things you should eat is carbs.
It's a lie.
Yeah. And then at the very top, I think, was like dairy. Like towards the top was like vegetables and protein, but like the basis, they were like, eat bread. And it was kind of crazy because it definitely doesn't make any sense.
No
and that's
sense
probably
whatsoever.
why we're lacking a lot of protein too in our American diets.
And if you have super lean beef, this steaming quite a bit.
Yeah.
But if you have super lean beef, you may have to add a little bit of olive oil, you know, a tablespoon or two, just to keep it from sticking at the bottom of your pan, just to kind of cook all the way.
Yeah. So it's pretty much cooked.
If you have really fatty beef, then let's say you have a lot of excess fat, then you'll want to drain that after off once the beef is actually cooked through and through.
Yep.
And so in this case, this is actually pretty lean and there's not a lot of fat in here. I can see a lot of the good juices. It's pretty much all the way cooked through, not quite totally the way that you'd want it to, but just almost finished. And that's when you'd add a whole onion, your peppers and garlic. What you do definitely need to add is an onion. If you don't have the peppers or the garlic, no problem, but you definitely want a full onion.
And those look like they were shaped like spicy peppers, but they taste, those are like those sweet peppers. They're not spicy.
Right, they're
But
like a bell pepper.
You can add like a jalapeno or something if you want
If you want a little extra kick.
Here, do you want a pot holder?
Yeah, that'd be good. Oh,
A little Christmas.
nice. Leftover Christmas. So we just stir and incorporate those great veggies to the ground beef right before all the pink is gone. And that way it has time to cook in the midst of that. You don't need to make it crispy or anything. You just need to incorporate it to where the veggies have cooked down a little bit.
Yep. Cool. You can just let that go for a bit.
So at this point, once we've added our vegetables, they've cooked through, you can tell that they are kind of getting more translucent and cooked. Then you can add your broth. So you can get store-bought broth, you can make your own homemade broth. So this is gonna be quite a bit. So we're gonna add this broth to
Probably
here.
the same as like one of those cartons. That's probably about 4 cups. So maybe
4 cups total.
8 cups or so.
Yeah, so about 2 cartons probably of chicken broth or beef broth, whichever one. I'm using chicken because that's what I had. I don't tell a difference actually between either one. And then what we'll do is we're gonna open up and add beans. So pinto beans, chili beans. The chili beans from Bush's is actually kind of the secret ingredient. So you want to add at least 2 cans of the chili beans because it has a special seasoning. You can have, it's called the medium chili sauce. You can have a hot chili sauce, or you can have a mild. I always like using the medium because it has a good enough spice and seasoning. So if you're kind of a little bit light on your seasoning for your taco meat, add these beans that have more of the seasoning, and then that can kind of balance everything out.
Got it.
So you can open these up
Sounds
for me.
good.
So 2 chili beans. Then we have some great northern beans, Bush's as well, because we like to add some white beans in there. Of course, pinto beans, and then we have some of our black beans as well. So. And then you're gonna add 2 cans of corn or 1 can of corn, depending on if you like corn or not in your soup. This is like an add-on. And then you wanna have Rotel or stewed tomatoes, whichever preference you prefer. We like Rotel as a family. And then a can of tomato sauce. So you have all those ingredients, and then the secret ingredient is the ranch salad dressing mix. So you don't make it, you just add this packet of seasoning in there too. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Add that in there.
I just made some homemade ranch.
That's awesome.
It's like a high protein one, so you use Greek yogurt
Nice.
instead of like making, or like mayo or sour cream or something. It tastes actually pretty good.
Wow.
Little things like that, add a little bit more protein here and
My
there.
grandmother would always make homemade mayonnaise. She would never buy store-bought mayonnaise.
It does taste very different and
Very
way
different.
better making it homemade.
Oh, it's delicious.
It's super easy. It's just eggs and oil.
Yep.
That's literally it.
And then you're gonna throw all these cans in here. So it's so simple and easy, because really after you've cooked your ground beef, added your fresh ingredients, add your broth, then you're essentially just dumping in a bunch of cans. And then you're gonna be topping it off during the cooking process with some fresh cilantro. Here's some more beans, more cans. So I always like to add some cilantro while I'm cooking. So just if you have some, add it to it. And then always as a garnish too is always good at the end.
If you like cilantro, unless you've got that gene that makes it taste like soap.
Oh, that's right. There is such a thing.
Yeah, some
That's so
people
sad
have that
for people.
gene and it tastes like soap.
That's very sad.
It's a genetic thing.
Well, I'm glad I do not have that gene.
Me either. It tastes good.
It's wonderful. I feel like you cannot have too much cilantro in your life.
Yeah.
And cilantro loves the cold weather. So this is a great time to actually plant cilantro.
Yes.
You want to keep it covered during freezing, but other than that, it loves the cold weather.
Yeah.
It does not enjoy the hot weather,
No.
which is bizarre to me that you would think something that would grow in Mexico so well.
Yeah. And my cilantro did not make it during the summer at all.
No, it does not enjoy the hot.
No.
All right, so you're essentially just adding all these amazing ingredients, adding some fresh cilantro, and then you're just allowing it all to just emulsify and cook. I actually think that it tastes better, the soup does, the day after you cook it, after you put it in the fridge and let it sit for a little bit. I think it tastes actually better the
I think
next
that's
day.
most stuff tastes better
Most
the next
soups.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it gets more time to like soak in all the flavors. It's got nice colors in there too.
It does. And you can kind of omit what beans maybe you don't prefer and add more of what you do like, because there's lots of really great bean varieties. So like if you want to add black eyed peas to this, you can, or lima beans or any of that. It's just really your preference.
Ooh.
All right, so when it's pretty much complete,
Almost
been
done.
cooking for about, 45 minutes to an hour.
It kind of depends. Everything's like cooked. It's just
Yeah.
how much depth of flavor do you want and stuff. I've definitely made this and just let it go for like 30 minutes then eating it. But I'm kind of impatient like that sometimes.
You could also put it in a crock pot too and just put it on low.
Yep.
And let it cook for a little while. I'm just adding some green onions. I always like to add that at the very end for a little bit of extra kick to it. And then you could always top your soup on top with the fresh cilantro and green onion chives, chips, sour cream, and cheese. So I'm gonna put the onion portion of the green onions
The white
in.
parts.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna retain the green parts
For a garnish.
for the garnish. So now that it's all finished, we'll put it in a bowl.
Whatever bowl you got.
Make sure you have some good broth.
All that stuff. We've got some toppings. I also use avocado sometimes too, but whatever
Oh,
you
that's a good
want.
idea.
Whatever you're gonna put on a taco,
Yep,
put it in here.
that's a great idea.
Crush up some chips. Got some cheese. Some sour cream in there. Some cilantro. Some green onions.
Green onions. Boom. That looks pretty
It's
awesome.
done. Looks great. Now we taste it.
Let's see if it tastes good. All
A
right,
spoon.
give it a shot.
You gotta mix it up though.
You gotta mix it up?
Yeah.
I don't feel like you have to, but all right.
Just gotta get the sour cream like in it.
Okay. It
don't
does
just, like-
make it creamy. The sour cream does.
Yeah, you don't want just like a bite of sour
The
cream.
avocados, I did forget about that. That's a really
Or
good.
jalapenos or,
Grilled jalapenos.
yeah,
Nice.
anything like that.
All right.
Ba-ba-bum. Tastes like taco soup.
Very good.
It's very good.
Way better than chili. Just saying.
Chili's still good though. Awesome. Well, hope you guys give this taco soup recipe a try. And please let us know if you do. We want to see on Instagram, Facebook, if you tried it, how your family likes it. We love to hear from you.
We love that.
And of course, if you know anyone that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, this is the year and we would love to help you out. So please give us a call. There's also a link at the bottom if you'd like to get the paper versions of these recipes. We mail these out every month and there should be a link to add your information in there. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.